Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you today. We have a very interesting one. I'm zoomed out quite a bit on this one because this is a very large knife. This is the new Recon 040 or 040, whatever you choose to call it, from Guardian Tactical. It's a big old stonker, over 4-inch blade OTF. You're going to see, I'm going to compare it to some other autos that you probably think are pretty big. This is bigger, but very excited to get it. I'm really like Guardian Tactical stuff a whole lot. They have a very unique firing mechanism where there's a ball running on this stainless steel interface. It's a lot smoother than a lot of the other ones. It's not as hard of a pull as a lot of the other ones. The ergos are really good. I just really come to like the Guardian Tactical stuff. As far as some of the other OTF manufacturers go, like Microtech, for example, perhaps not as exciting. They don't have as many different crazy design variations and stuff, but it's a much newer company, so that's kind of understandable. But as far as quality goes and just the action goes, they're pretty ace. This is $379. Not inexpensive, but for an OTF of this size, really not bad. Not too bad at all. So yeah, aluminum construction, LMAX steel, all 100% made in the US. Yeah, right hand, left hand carry, which is nice. So this is an ambidextrous knife. Yeah, let's get into it before I keep rambling any farther on this. So we're gonna do some specs. More important will be the size comparisons, because again, I'm zoomed out a little bit, so you probably won't get how huge this thing is until we do size comparisons. So you have a blade length of 4.1 inches, overall length 9 3/4 inches. You have a blade thickness of 0.15 inches, and just a tiny little thing. It's exactly 0.15 inches. My other Guardian 2 is exactly what they say it is. A lot of times you'll see in the specs it's 0.16. It's 0.1623 or something like that. No, dead on 0.15. So is my 035, the smaller one, which you'll see shortly. Handle thickness is 0.55 inches. Weight is 6.1 ounces. So not light, but for a knife this size, not too bad. And there's a lot of steel mechanism and stuff. I have a lot of knives that weigh a lot more than that I still carry comfortably. So now let's get to the silly part. Let's do the size comparison. So start out with, we're only going to do 2 of our usuals because it's kind of dumb to do the smaller ones, honestly. So you have your Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Yes, I did not screw up. That's not a Para 3. That is a Paramilitary 2. And the Benchmade 940. And again, it's not a 940 mini. That is a full-size one. Now, before we get into some other autos, I just grabbed a couple of our other larger folders that are more kind of in the size range that I have. So we have your Cold Steel Recon 1. Still just a little bit longer than that. And the Hinder XM24. Yeah, again, still just a little bit longer than either of those. Now, in the auto realm, let's compare it to some that most people would consider to be pretty large. I'm going to grab a couple of Ultratech, or I mean, it's Microtechs here. Sorry, one of them is an Ultratech. So this is the Combat Troodon, which is considered to be pretty big. It's quite a bit bigger than that. And then more commonly, you guys may, the Ultratech, kind of their ubiquitous model, I guess you'd call it. So yeah, it is large. Compare it to its smaller brethren, the Recon 035, which, as you might gather by those names, 040 indicates 4 inches. This is a little bit more than 4 inches, but the 035 is 3.5 inches. So yeah, dwarfs it. Absolutely dwarfs it for sure. Yeah. What do I think about the overall looks of it? I like it a lot. It only comes, well, we're going to talk about the blade in just a second. So I'm going to say it only comes in this one blade shape in this particular model. It's new, so that's kind of unsurprising. Only these handles. It does come in several different variations as far as coatings go. So there's a full black, there's like a partial black, there's like a kind of distressed black finish, and then there's also a partially serrated, but just this blade shape. Now, on the 035, you know, as you see, you can get it with carbon inlays, you can get it with a Tanto, you can get it with a double edge. There's a few more options with that, but this has been around for a lot longer, so that's unsurprising. I think you're going to see those kind of options in the 040 eventually, especially if it is successful. And this is just for giggles. The only automatic I have gosh, that I've seen that's larger than this. I don't bring this out very often. This is kind of meant to be a bit of a novelty because Boker's a bit silly, but this is the Kalashnikov XXL. That's the only one I have that's bigger. And it's, I don't know if there's any. I think the Heretic I had before with the single action might have been just a little bit bigger. I think that the Microtech single action is a little bit bigger. Gosh, name escapes me right now. I think that might be a little bit bigger, about the same size, but you get the point. It is large. So the blade on this LMAX steel, no problems there. I really like LMAX steel. It's, again, 0.15, fairly thick blade stock, but not crazy town. One thing I like about it, though, and it's actually a thing that's kind of rare on OTFs, it's 17 thousandths behind the edge. So it's a pretty darn good slicer. Nice, simple, useful blade shape. Pretty good tip on it. The swedge is going to make it look a bit thinner than it is on camera, but it is a pretty good tip on it. It is off to the side, as you can see. It's an OTF. Most of them are. There's a little bit of blade play, but again, there's only like the Grant and Gavin Hawk has none. Allegedly, that new SOG does, but I have not seen one yet. So there's that. But ergonomically, excellent. That is one of the things I liked about the 035, and this is just as good. Just obviously bigger handle, so it fills the hand well, but just the shape is right. Where all this jimping and stuff is, it's not too aggressive, but it's aggressive enough to be functional. It has some finger grooves in it, which people don't always like, but these are very generous in size, so I don't think it's going to cause anybody problems. Again, the jimping on the fire button is right. You know, it's not too crazy aggressive like some of the Microtechs can be, but still enough to be very effective. And the pocket clip is pretty unobtrusive. You can feel the ramp, just a hair, but really not too bad at all. With a handle this size, you got to kind of try to make it uncomfortable, and they did not, for sure. How does the carry on this thing? That is probably the biggest question, because it is a very, very large knife. It's honestly not that bad. There's no big flipper tab sticking out. Again, the weight, it's heavy, but it's not mind-bogglingly heavy. Plenty easy to get your hand past and all that stuff. There is some jimping you're going to feel, as you can see, like right here. Your hand does rub on that as your hand goes in and out. But again, it's not super aggressive. The fire button sticks out a little bit, so you can kind of feel that fire mechanism just a bit, but it's not too bad. The only time I noticed it being big was I like bent over to tie my shoes or something like that, and then it's kind of, you know, this dimension is kind of like, Well, it's usually off to the side a little bit, but still it's kind of just, I could tell like that. Those little things, if you have to bend way over, I noticed the length of it in my pocket. Yeah, that's what she said in there somewhere, absolutely for sure, but I will let your filthy minds go there. I'm not going to. How's the action on this thing? Yeah, that's what Guardians are all about, man. It's super smooth. And I have my elbow on the table. Sorry. I can sit and do this all damn day. It doesn't bother me a bit. Again, doesn't tear my thumb up. Now, my Combat Trudon is actually the lightest spring of any of my Microtechs, oddly, and I can do that, but see, now I'm running out of effort already. It takes a second, and it chews your thumb up. Like, look, I've already got like a mark on my thumb from it. Not on this. Not on this at all. All day long. In my 035, exactly the same way. So, what is my opinion on this? It is big. It is very, very large. It is the over 4-inch OTF in the room, so to speak. Yes, definitely. If you want something just to carry around, you know, the 035, much, much better choice. But if you want a really big old OTF, man, it ain't bad. Especially if you are actually buying this and you are in a tactical environment, military use, something like that, law enforcement, you want a big old blade. Yeah, it's great. Probably another reason why it's not done in a lot of the fancy pants versions off the bat yet, because I don't think most fancy pants buyers are going to buy them unless you're, morons like me and you just like big old OTFs that you probably don't really need. Price isn't bad. Quality is excellent. That action is superb. I think they did a pretty good job of packaging this into a relatively easily carried package. It is right-left hand carry, which is nice. Yeah, it does have a glass breaker on it for one downside. The glass breakers are not removable, but it is fairly unobtrusive. You can see it's not like a big sharp, stabby thing. It's just got that ball on the end. So it's not too bad, but I do wish that there was a removable glass breaker of some kind instead of this integrated one. But it does integrate a lanyard hole, so it does serve two purposes. It's just not the way it's an excellent design. It's just not the way I would have gone, because I just do not like glass breakers on knives. But yeah, I'm interested to see if they do some fancier versions. I'm sure there will be. But yeah, pretty impressed with this. And $379, man, that price is not bad. I know it's a lot of money, but for a big giant old OTF with this kind of action, a lot of work goes into making OTFs. I don't think that's a bad price at all. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.